We are here today for New Month Numerology with Michele Landers. So excited to be here today. Can't believe, Michele, we are sitting on June 1.
Ruth, I can't believe it either. And first of all, thank you again, as usual, for having me on. I really appreciate the platform to share the information. And that's when I was writing this, that's exactly what I was saying. Oh my goodness, here we are in June. And need I say that this year again is flying by. So what I have to say about June, just to right off the bat, is put your roller skates on or buckle your seatbelts or whatever you need to do, because the month is without a doubt hectic. It's dynamic. It's gonna fly by, and not without a lot of fanfare. And the word that came up for me, and this is interesting because it's come up for, I think, a few other either astrologers or psychics, but the word seems to be hot. There's a lot of, it's not just weather-wise, but hot energy. But it's literally, and literal in one sense, and the energy is hot. So first of all, June's a 6th month, right? But in order to get the energy of the month universally, what we have to do is add 6 to the year 2024, and 2024 adds up to 8. And this is what we do every month. So when you add 8 to June, the 6th of June, what do you get? You get 14. 6 and 8 equals 14. So we have a few numbers to interpret. We have the 6, the 8, we have 1, we have 4. So when you add 1 and 4 together, what do you get? What do you get is 5. So first of all, for a moment, I just want to talk about the number 14, because it happens to be a karmic debt number, which I almost had a smile when I realized that, because I said, oh my God, it's a 14. That means, what does that mean? That means a lot of stuff that's going to be happening and has happened right now leading up to June 1st is karmic. And the number 14, and you can't make this stuff up really, because the number 14 is about misuse of freedom, especially in previous lifetimes. Now, I'm not going to take a deep dive into the previous lifetime aspect right now, but I was hoping, and one of these days we'll do a numerology workshop, and I'll be able to talk about previous lifetimes, how that affects this lifetime. So just know that anything having to do with overuse or abuse is likely to come up in areas this month. And that could be on a personal level, but I would say most of this is really on the worldwide platform. But we, of course, will feel it, whether we feel it as a result of what's happening in the world or personally. And that really, of course, depends on your individual chart. So I'm in a 5-year, and with my the June 6 and 5 is 11 too. So I'm under a lot of surprises this month, and I'm just hoping that they're all good. So this is a month of karmic repayments, so to speak. It's an important time of ethics, those who are unethical, and anybody who is intentionally misusing their power. This is a time of karmic payback. And then another problem or challenge with this number is that with 5, we tend to get carried away with, well, anything really. The energy of the 5, and I will talk about all the good aspects, of course. The number 5 is unpredictable. It can be confusing. It can be changeable. Now, add to that, and again, you can't make this stuff up, the number 5 is the number given to Gemini, which is the astrological season that we're in right now, at least up until the 21st. And by default, the planet Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, resonates to the number 5. So this is hot and high energy, intensifies everything. The characteristics of Gemini and the number 5 are, for the most part, pretty much one and the same. Gemini is, the good parts. Gemini is curious. It's fun. It's an adventurer. It's good with words, but it's also unpredictable and changeable. It's an air sign, and that means constantly emotion, a whirlwind of emotion. And with its ruler, Mercury, which is also communication, Gemini does like to talk, talk, talk. So very often with Gemini, what's on their mind is out of their mouth. Numerologically, the number 5 is considered the number of man on earth. And what does that mean? That means that, as a reminder, we are physical beings, we are spiritual beings, having a human experience. So the 5 encourages us. It says, okay, you're here on earth. It's very tempting. It's almost like 5 is a number of temptation. I have to remember that, because that just came to me. The 5 is like the number of temptation. So it's like, okay, you have this playground here, which can be a lot of fun, but don't forget or remember who you really are, which is a spiritual being. So the issue with the 5 is that we can overdo it. Some people live by the philosophy, if a little is good, more must be great. And unfortunately, that's where addictions come in. So this month, there can be a lot of getting carried away with things, with all things, but especially hedonistic tendencies, or caught up in the emotional aspects of being very, very human. So the number 5 tells us, again, yes, you can play, but remember, you're a spiritual being, and everything here is to teach you a lesson. So 5 by itself, very changeable number, can be unbalanced, but 5s can be fun. But too much fun, we know, can lead to addictions, which is why so often I find people who have an abundance of either the number 5, like in their life path, and their name number, they're very passionate, which is great. So especially with artists and creative people, or they could have very addictive personalities, and very often both seem to go together. So this month, being very attached to things, ideas, or things you hear, that's part of the energy which I want to suggest to people to watch that. Be very careful of that this month, of being too attached to whatever it is in your life, or overuse. It can be an overstimulating month in so many ways. I think I said it either the month before, because we had another month with all of this talking energy. Way too much talking, way too much discussions going on. I want to talk about the tarot cards, though, with this. Okay, which should I start with? Well, let me start with the number 5 tarot card, and that is the Hierophant. And the Hierophant, okay, is it's a really interesting card, because he kind of looks like the Pope, right? He looks like the Pope sitting there, or a religious teacher. And you can say the Hierophant or the Hierophant, he's the bridge, again, 5 in numerology. And I just have to say, I love how all of this stuff mirrors one another, whether it's astrology or numerology or tarot cards. They all seem to mirror one another, and each adds just a little bit more information. So where was I? Okay, so the Hierophant is the bridge between heaven and earth. And just like the number five, its caution is not to get so caught up with things in overindulgences. And the Hierophant asks you to tone it down and don't forget to pay special attention to your spiritual life. So, and it also has to do with a lot of erratic energy, especially in institutions. I didn't want to forget that because that is also a number of kind of institute or a part of that. So the five is saying, okay, things are getting a little crazy, but you need to put things in perspective and you have to get balance in your life. And that again leads to the spiritual aspects of the number, which asks us to seek out, again, he looks like the Pope, to seek out spiritual groups or religious groups if that's what you're attuned to. Also studies. So it's really important to bring more of that into your life. Why? Because to bring more balance and peace. And that is going to be so important for all of us this month because it's so wild. The Hierophant is also about the tried and true way of doing things and honoring tradition and ritual. So that might seem maybe counterintuitive or with a number five, but what I think we should all do is some type of ritual or get involved in some kind of regular spiritual practice. So I do think it's really important on June 20th, the summer solstice, do a ritual. That would be so great to do a ritual. So this energy again means not to lose sight of the basics of your spiritual or your religious practice. Because at its core, what does it mean? It means just being a good human being. And it also encourages us, especially this month, to get with others in groups. It could be just a couple of people, or it could be a group. And the goal is to bring more peace and more goodness into your life. And I do like the idea of creating rituals in your life, like a morning ritual where you carve out time every day, meditation, for exercise, for prayer. And maybe you start saying a prayer before each meal. Being very grateful and thankful will go a long way to like neutralizing some of that crazy energy. Get involved in a group like I love Terry Angel's group, Cup of Joy, on EWN every morning, right? That's around 8:15. So I think that's a really good advice. And I know that that's good advice anytime, but because the energies of this month are so erratic and so changeable, it's just a very strong reminder. So we also have, as I said, the number 14. Now, in the tarot, here is the 14. The 14 is the card of temperance, right? So what is temperance? Temperance is you have patience. It's a reminder again to do everything in moderation, to have balance, to have restraint. Another very interesting aspect of the five that it's so fast moving this year is that, excuse me, in a five energy, things change so rapidly. Like one door closes and you go, oh my God, I canceled that appointment. I can't believe it. And boom, 2 days later or 1 day later or an hour later, something else shows up. That is the nature of the five. Boom, 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 boom in all areas. So it's best not to make too many concrete plans. There's a saying, make plans, don't plan results, because there can be a lot of changes going on. So I've given you some of the pitfalls, excuse me, but here's the bright side. If you're flexible, it means you can have a lot of fun. June is by itself, it indicates to me with the number 6, it's about love and it's about family. And that certainly is going to be on the agenda this month. So you can have some fun times, party, short, 5 really favors short trip travel. And for some, 5 can be a lucky month. It really can be. And that's, again, if you follow the positive aspects of the 5 and don't get caught up, don't get attached, don't be codependent, be flexible, be open. So it does call for order and consistency, even though we're in this midst of a changing environment, which, by the way, includes, again, aspects of the earth. And I know this is just going to go on for a long time. So we're in this very unpredictable energy weather-wise, which is going to continue, which is probably going to escalate. And so will this hot or eruption energy. It is hot energy. So I'm thinking, fires, volcanoes, especially tornadoes, and then hot tempers. More women are going to be speaking out and protesting like crazy. Really, that is a very strong aspect this month. So we have the message for us this month is to at least make a very, very strong attempt to maintain an even temperament, manage your emotions. And I think that might be, a bit challenging this month, but forewarned is forearmed. So the number 8 of the year and the number 5 of the month, even though I know people say, wait a minute, it's June is 6. But again, 6 plus 8 is 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. Those are very physical numbers. So that also tells me that people are going to be paying more attention to their body. And I'm, in ways maybe they want to improve it, they want to change it, or, they're going to be paying more attention to their body. And a lot of, again, changes in the air, and it's a lot of short trip travel. So we're being asked to hold steady despite what might feel like a really, really rocky boat ride. And there's one astrologer, I can't remember her name, and she likens Gemini energy to a hummingbird. And hummingbirds, I don't remember what the number is, how fast they flap their wings, but that's what it is. And they flip from one thing to another. I think the month starts off with not such bad aspects planetarily wise, because we have a kind of a saturation of planets in Gemini this month. We have Venus, we have Jupiter, Mercury, and of course the sun. And Venus represents love and harmony. Jupiter symbolizes expansion and growth. Mercury is about communication and intellect, and the sun is about our vitality and who we are. So this lineup of powerful planets for our personal development, and especially in intellectual pursuits, is wonderful. And it's also wonderful for socializing and creative projects. It's a dynamic month, and again, we just have to embrace flexibility. People all around, all over, can be unpredictable. And if you let it, it can affect you personally. This is the Gemini energy. Yeah, definitely. Let's get together at 5 o'clock. Okay, that's great. Okay, and let's go to this restaurant or whatever. And then a Gemini will go, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. Let's change it. So Gemini is about changing, and also it's about not always wanting to commit to something. It's like, well, let me think about it. And then the 11th hour, you're sitting there saying, well, are you going to do this or not? So that's the energy as well, like waiting for something. So we're just asked to hold steady this month. And it's a call for order and consistency over, even though we're in the midst of all this. Let's start with, okay. So go with the flow, be flexible, trust your instincts. Now, today we have Jupiter trines Pluto. Now, Jupiter is expansive and it is thinking big. It's thinking about the future. So with that energy, with those transits, it's very, very much could be a month of discovery. And it's not just about hidden aspects, but in other areas too. And what keeps coming up is things having to do with the ocean. So that may be now, it may be further, but we're going to discover things in the sea, in the ocean, whether that's medical or some type of new food, something like that, something similar to that. There was another transit I have to remember to go back to that I wanted to talk about. So on the 2nd, we have Jupiter in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. So that feels pretty positive. It still carries that energy, though, of things being exposed. Aquarius is futuristic. Pluto is transformational. It can mean some kind of breakthrough. And this is not just tomorrow, though. This is probably for a couple of days, but maybe social media breakthrough or breakdown, different platforms, and AI. And again, Pluto, it's all about transformation and power. And that power needed to create changes and transformations. Now, on the 3rd, we have Mercury in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Mercury entered Gemini is also really a positive transit when it comes to all forms of communication. So we kind of start off the week because, yeah, today's Saturday. It's great for teaching. It's great for learning. It's especially good for Geminis. And Mercury is going to be in Gemini for 2 weeks until the 17th. And that's very empowered energy because Mercury is words and communication. If you have any kind of writing project or contracts or anything that you're working on, this should give you the impetus to really, be very creative. Maybe you want to change something with your website. This is the time to do it. It's very stimulating. It's about curiosity. It's intellectual work. It's organizing things. It can also bring in an avalanche of information coming into us, like flooding us, for this next week. Well, actually, that's the whole month. But a lot of it, need I say, I mean, I know people already know this, but a lot of it's going to be misinformation. It's just an overload. So, just do your due diligence. And we also have on the 4th, we have a Venus cazimi, and I love cazimis. They're just very good aspects. It's a conjunction of the sun with Venus, and a Venus cazimi means good luck and opportunity. We can expect to have heightened intuition, some good news. It's great for negotiating. It's great for education. Great time to book or plan a trip. It's good for healing. And on the 6th, we have a new moon. I always love new moons. We have a new moon in Gemini, and it is, again, very imaginative. It can bring in new, fresh ideas. The other side of that is we'll probably may hear news about our alliances, and that may be a little bit shaky because following that, there's kind of an output of crazy illogical behaviors. It's like, what? They said, what? They did what? And then on the 11th, we have Mars in Taurus square Pluto in Aquarius. And that is, it's funny because this behavior part that comes up. And then what do we have? We have this Mars in Taurus square Pluto in Aquarius, and that's like power struggles, um, uh, craving power, and intense drive. It's combative. Um, it could be around this time, I guess we're going towards mid-month, is explosive moments, secrets coming out, like as if we haven't had enough secrets coming out, right? There's more. And we have to just keep our eyes open, because again, things can be explosive. I was going to use the word violence. I don't really want to use that though. But on the 14th, we have Sun conjunct Mercury in Gemini, which is another Cassimi, and that's a powerful day. It's great for self-expression. It's a day of revelations. It's clarity. Mercury conjoins the Sun. You can get some kind of clarity, like intellectual clarity on something. Around the 16th and the 20th, those days are kind of low energy. Try not to make too many decisions, even though I love the 20th. So we've got kind of a mixed energy bag here. And the 17th, we have Mercury and Venus in Cancer. And Venus actually enters Cancer until July 11th. And Mercury enters Cancer until July 2nd. So that energy is kind of soft and compassionate, nurturing. It has to do with commitments. It also could be, okay, nurturing and sympathetic and commitment, but I think there might be something legal that comes up as well. And then we have the 20th, we have the summer solstice, and I love this. It's Sun in Cancer. We're vibing high, set intentions. It's definitely a shift, but we can use that energetic shift internally. It's very potent energy. Definitely do some rituals. Honor that day. Honor yourself. Get clear on things. If you could take the day off, that would be great. The 21st, we have a full moon in Capricorn. And well, it's interesting. The moon is very feeling and it has this empathetic, compassionate energy. And Capricorn is no. Capricorn is tough. So it could bring up some kind of a rude awakening, either worldwide or in your life. It's about boundaries. I think, especially in June, a lot is going to come up about reproductive rights. Again, discussing boundaries. It can represent a turning point. It's a very restless, intense energy. And around this time, it feels like emotions are bubbling up. And there could be a spotlight on something really important. And again, the moon is emotion, and a Capricorn moon is serious. It's very serious. No nonsense. So it is about restriction. So overall, we are being asked this month to hold steady despite what might feel like a rocky ship. It calls for some order and consistency, even though we're in the midst of this changing environment. So there's not much use in trying to make too many plans this month, because a lot of it, very much of it, is going to happen unexpectedly. It's a hectic and dynamic month. So go with the flow, be flexible, trust your instincts, because 5 is saying though, oh, by the way, I know there was other things I wanted to mention. It's great for writers too, it's a great energy for writers. And okay, Uranus is going to enter Taurus on the 1st of June. Okay, that's going to be with us for a while. I think I'm going to talk about that next month because that is definitely going to impact us in the long run. So there's going to be, like, between now and next year, there's just going to be so many changes going on. But I want everybody to be optimistic because in the end, it's all going to be for the good. And I think despite what's going on, people are starting to find their center, if that's the word. They're starting to find their center. They're starting to feel more that like, okay, we just have to hold steady, hold strong. We have to keep praying. We have to keep forming groups. We have to keep forgiving. We have to stop judging. And that will spread like wildfire. And that's what we're being asked to do. So this month, you can have a lot of fun. There could be a lot of beautiful things happening. And there also it's going to be an up and down roller coaster ride, but you don't have to get in the chair and buckle yourself in. I would say buckle yourself in, but just hold steady, hold your center, and we'll get through this month and we'll see what next month brings. So that's it, folks. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Michele. You did mention the importance of having a daily routine, and it sounds like this would be a great month for doing that, for putting that in place, whether it's going into prayerful meditation, getting out in nature, however you find your source, your stability in your own self as a divine being. Sounds like the perfect month for that.
It does, and I want to encourage people to tune into Atlantic. Atlantic. Where did that come from? All right, there must be something going on in the ocean. To EWN for that reason, because you have a variety of programs for everyone to stay centered, and it's free, and that's the beauty of it. So if whoever is listening to this, tune into EWN and land it's okay. Atlantic seems to be a big thing. Enlightened World Network. I'm so sorry for that. I don't know where that's coming from.
That's all right. We'll delve into that and figure that one out.
What I did also wanted to mention is, if I can, that Terry Angel and I are going to be doing a 4-week Think and Grow Rich program. And the Think and Grow Rich book has been around, I don't even remember how many years, but it goes back, I think, to the 40s probably, or 30s even, it might. And it is a profound course. It has been turned into a course a long time ago. But if you follow it, the program is life-changing. So I just want to mention that. And also, I'm doing graduation charts for 1-page graduation charts, and I have a special. And every month I give if you subscribe to my newsletter, every month you get a free interpretation of that month for your individual month. But you got to get on the newsletter, because there's lots of other juicy things I put in there. So, but thank you so much, Ruth, for this opportunity.
Michele, you are so generous with the newsletter and with reaching out to folks. So please, friends, take a look at Michele Landers. She really has so much to offer. Michele, I tell you how much I appreciate you doing this every month for us. And you nailed May. You absolutely nailed May. So
good.
This it is fun to look back over the month while it's rolling out and say,
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's so interesting because as I mentioned earlier, when I started, talking about what's going on, the energies, the astrology, the numerology, the tarot, and I don't even know what other and I call them occult because they used to be hidden. It's interesting because they're all of these are called occult sciences, and occult in the medical community means hidden, like occult. If anybody ever heard the expression occult blood, so that means hidden. But now they're not so hidden anymore. You have to learn how to interpret it, but more and more, I don't think it's hidden as much, and more people are starting to say, "Oh my goodness, I think there's something to this." And yeah, and scientifically, it's tied to the quantum field. That is the reason that all of these make sense. And that is a topic for another time, right? A deep dive into that.
well, I would
So,
welcome that deep dive. So if you want to do that, I'd be happy to host you on that. So,
okay, I would.
all right. Well,
I
Michelle,
would.
thank you so much. And friends, thank you for being here at Enlightened World Network. Take good care, and we'll see you all soon. Bye now.